So, this is something I've kind of wanted to talk about for a little bit, and I think my friend slash co-writer Jason Voorhees 2011 would be okay with it. Basically, what this is a fanfiction project that we've been kind of cultivating for the past few weeks, and really kind of ironing out details and future ideas and whatnot. And basically, what we're doing is a giant animated shared universe. Not like just one planet, like one Earth. It's more like multiple Earths, and I'll get to that in a moment. But what it is, yeah, it's one shared universe of animated characters. Now, we've done stories of like adaptations of different Marvel and DC story arcs, and we've done that so many times with different shared continuities. And then we just kind of talked about it one day and said to ourselves, why not just do this, why not just make one big continuity? Like, it does get a little confusing of which shared universe follows which. So we're like, screw it, let's do a big shared universe and then do our adaptation ideas from all of that. And each story can follow into the next. So, yeah, that was kind of the idea. Now, the story, we are planning on, we've actually written together a one-shot, which is still in development. Basically, what this one-shot is to kick off this new shared universe and kind of put all the pieces together for, various future events. But there is a beginning storyline to it, in that we have changed a little continuity to to a lot of the story and timeline. Yes, there is a linear timeline, for all these characters in this universe on a whole. Now, we do have that, the stuff like this, there are certain characters, and I'll get in that moment, but basically the Gem War did happen 1,000 years ago in this continuity, and the Autobots and Decepticons did crash land here also centuries ago, but instead of waking up in the 80s, the Autobots and Decepticons instead woke up in 1997. And following that, G.I. Joe wasn't formed until 2002, in a post-9/11 era timeline. And then, in 2005, the Earth Corps and the Inhumanoids gave rise. And you're probably wondering, why did you put the Autobots, G.I. Joe, and Inhumanoids characters all in, like, the late 90s to early 2000s? Reason being is because we kind of thought about it, and if they came out in the 80s, everyone would be pretty old and retired by now. Like, the Autobots would still be going, but G.I. Joe and the Earth Corps would still be very old, like, they'd get older. The Autobots don't have that problem. So, basically, what this is that the Autobots were, like, the first official characters, but they officially did not reveal themselves. They were fighting a secret war, much like in the early IDW comics. They were fighting a secret war with the Decepticons from the late 90s all the way to the early 2000s, where they had to reveal themselves after Cobra and the Decepticons worked together. So that was kind of the idea, and then in 2009 in this timeline, that's when Xanatos bought the castle for the Gargoyles, and the Gargoyles came in 2009. Again, they're immortals. I mean, they're not really immortal. They can live a long time, so it's fine. Now, you're probably wondering, well, what about all the other superheroes? What about characters like Danny Phantom and all the others? When did they show up? Well, in this timeline, the first metahumans, as they're called, the first metahumans officially appeared when the Powerpuff Girls were born in this timeline, 2013. It wasn't until 2013 in this timeline that the Powerpuff Girls showed up, and the following 5 years leading up to 2018, all the other characters like Jake Long, Danny Phantom, XJ9, Kim Possible, all of those characters didn't start all appeared roughly in that same year, five-year time period. And I know what you're thinking, but wait a minute, everyone showed up in a 5-year timeline? That sounds a lot like New 52. Well, admittedly, like at first glance, it does sound like something like the New 52 did, if everyone just showed up in a 5-year radius. But it makes a lot more sense in these cartoon shows than it does in comics, because comics have years upon years of storylines and character development and what have you, and it's really hard to put all of that in a 5-year radius. Whereas the animation, especially with all these young superheroes, you could, a lot of their storylines take place in months, sometimes in maybe a year or maybe 2 years. But really, all of these characters, like, it's a lot more logical sense because a lot of their storylines, even with all the episodes, it could easily round out to only several months. So that's why it works a lot better in having all of these metahumans show up in in a 5-year time radius. So that's kind of the idea, is that it makes a lot more sense that all these metahumans like Randy, Danny, Jake, Jenny, Kim, Shizao. Shizao's in this universe. El Tigre, all of these characters were showing up in from 2013 to 2018, and that was kind of like, okay, that makes sense. Now there are some anime characters in this universe. This isn't just exclusively cartoons, and there's also live action. The Power Rangers also started in this timeline. The Power Rangers are also a part of this universe. The Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. And they are, this is roughly the time, now currently, it's Tommy as the White Ranger, and we've also got Rocky, Aisha, and Adam part of the team. So that's where they are in terms of, if you want to go by Rangers. We also have, in terms of anime characters, not a lot of anime characters are a part of this universe, but the three main ones that are, if you're wondering, are Hellsing, they operate out of London, Sailor Moon, who operate in Japan, along with Godzilla. Yeah, the kaiju are part of this universe too. And Black Lagoon. Black Lagoon is also a part of this universe. They operate out of Roanapur, which is in Southeast Asia. And a lot of characters, like, as long it's not like with a battle world scenario where everyone has their own little territory. No, it's very much like the world is big enough, and a lot of these characters do exist in like different parts of the world. Like you've got Ladybug and the Lyoko Warriors. They inhabit France. They protect France. You've got El Tigre and his dad. They're in Mexico. You've got Shizao, who's in Australia. You've got Hellsing in Britain. So there you go. Now, the person who's kind of now the people behind a lot of who's the shield of this universe essentially is the Global Justice Network from Kim Possible. And her right-hand man, Agent Will Do, is actually the head of a group called Task Force M, which is a Suicide Squad-esque team, or X-Force type teams, Black Ops basically, made of monster girls. Specifically, a new remade version of the characters from Scooby-Doo and the Ghoul School. And you're probably thinking, well, that's kind of weird. But we actually talked about it, Jason and I kind of talked about it, and was like, yeah, let's do that. Of having these characters a little more evolved, and they're a little more... basically, in this new universe, the Ghoul School girls were part of Grimwood School, but it was more like they were the X-Men. They were like in their younger years, they were like the X-Men for monsters, where they wanted to keep the monster world, protected from humans. And you had the guys in white, you had Iscariot, and you had Hellsing and several other government groups. Even Predators, yeah, alien Predators and Engineers are part of this universe. And Predators hunted monsters. So now the team's been reformed as part of the GJN as a Black Ops team. Also, they have another side mission in that, in case one of these superhero metahumans go rogue, they're designed to take them out. Now, in terms of other planets, you've got Atmos, you've got Eternia, you've got, Atmos from Stormhawks, you've got Eternia, you've got several other planets like Homeworld, Cybertron. They're all part of the galaxy, and they're going to have their own cosmic stuff. Also, we have Multiverse. We have the Multiverse thanks to Pen Zero Part-Time Hero and Starverse, The Force of Evil. This is how we can do multiverse stuff. We've got Remnant from Ruby. Ruby's a part. Oh yeah, that's another anime. I keep forgetting that's classified as anime. Ruby is part of this universe or multiverse. We've also got My Hero Academia. They're part of the multiverse. OKKO is part of the multiverse. And a few other worlds. So yeah, that was kind of our idea, essentially, was just have this big, we knew it wouldn't make any sense to have some of these characters a part of the main Earth, but thanks to shows like Pen Zero Part-Time Hero and Starverse The Forces of Evil, we can do multiverse stuff and bring in these characters. We also had a fun idea for Jack, actually, from Samurai Jack, is that he's not part of the multiverse, he's still immortal, and now he lives in the timeline he helped create it after killing Aku. So he's actually a part of this new timeline, but he's still immortal. Like Aku's curse to make him immortal, or inadvertent curse, I should say, is still in effect, and he's immortal and just kind of walks around. He mainly operates in Japan, and he's been kind of staying in the shadows. But now with this Age of Heroes, he's starting to come out. So there is a lot of other stuff I didn't get to talk about. I wanted to keep this video brief, but I thought I'd share it with you guys. And yeah. I'll do another video when we get the one-shot eventually out. We're kind of dealing with some problems here and there, personal stuff here and there on both of our ends. So yeah, that's kind of what we're kind of held back. But I thought I'd build some hype for this. Basically, I'd build a little hype. So anyway, so there you go, guys. Hope you all enjoyed this, and yeah, I'll leave a link below for not only my other channel, Comic Universe, but also to Jason Voorhees 2011's YouTube channel. He does some amazing editing. You guys should check it out. And once again, hope you all enjoyed this, and I'm out.